Hello. Have you ever wondered where we go when we die? So, what does the Bible say about death? And I'm just gonna read just a little verse from Ecclesiastes 12:7. And the dust returns to the earth as it once was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Just remember, God created man from the earth, from dust. When you look at Genesis
It's Genesis 2,
chapter,
chapter
was it chapter 2
7.
or chapter 3?
Genesis 2, 7. Um, so basically, for a quick second, I forgot. But we did get back on track here. And look at that face. Look at that face. Look at that face. Like, really? You gonna forget
Let's
now?
go to chapter 2
Let's
in
get to
Genesis,
it.
and let's look into Genesis real quick. Genesis 2 7. Then the Lord God formed the man out of the dust from the ground and breathed the breath of life into his nostrils, and the man became a living being. Um, you know, God acts as the divine potter, skillfully fashioning man out of the dust from the ground. But the Bible makes it very clear that people are more than just material beings. It was only when God breathed into the man's nostrils the breath of life that Adam became alive. God is spirit. Thus, when God breathed into him, Adam and all later human beings become a unique mix of the physical and the spiritual. So, nevertheless, humans are considered to be in a class by themselves since they alone are made in God's image. So, when we die, we went back to dust and we went back to the ground where God formed us, and then our spirit went returned back to God. And I believe, our spirit stays with God until judgment day when he calls all the living beings, even the dead. And I believe that's when he will return the spirit back to the dead so they can be judged. So I went to a funeral. I personally didn't know the person, but I am friends with his brother, so I went to the funeral to just support my friend. And while I was at the funeral, it was very sad. I felt very sad because it was a sad moment, for the family, for the friends that lost this person at such a young age. And it hits me. I realized, what if the people that are still mad with their family, still mad with their friends, they don't make peace with their family or friend, or the families who did them wrong don't make peace with them. Then when that person passed away, and then you see the same people that used to give them problems going to be at the funeral crying and everything. And then people will start wondering, well, that person died, where do they go? Do they go straight to heaven? Do they go straight to hell? For me, I believe when a person died, they don't go straight to hell. They definitely don't go straight to heaven. But your spirit returns back to its makers. It returns back to God. He made us out of dust. That's what the first human were made. So when we die, we return back to dust. Even if they cremate us, our body became like dust, like ashes. So when they bury us, we go back to the ground because that's where God created us. And then because he breathed life to us, he gave us the spirit for us to live, for us to continue life. Our spirit will go straight to him. Nowhere in the Bible where it mentioned that right when you die you go straight to heaven, right when you die you go straight to hell if you were a bad person. It simply said when you die, your spirit returns back to God. So I was just in my mind thinking, well, I was very sad, because I was just like, gosh, if I died today, I personally wouldn't want people who've never talked to me, people who always talk bad about me, people who never once give me a phone call to go to my funeral. Because why would you want to be there? When I was leaving, when I was in this earth, breathing, living life, you didn't care. So why would you even go to my funeral? That's something I've always struggled with. Like, if I could choose who can come to my funeral, how long will my list be, or how short will my list be? And honestly, it will be that short, because I don't believe that when somebody die, if you've never talked to them, you've never called them, you've never once tell this person how much you love them, how much you care about them, and if you've always been the person who was very toxic toward that person, why would you come to their funeral? If the dead could speak, I'm sure that person will wake up and be like, why are you here? Why are my funerals? You didn't care. Why are you here? But I've always have a struggle too when somebody died. I've always was like, do they go straight to heaven? Do they go straight to hell? Because in churches they made the mistake by saying, so and so Susie's in heaven right now with the Father watching over you, blah blah blah. And I'm like, watching over us? So when you die, you automatically become an angel? So when that person did something bad, they automatically burn in hell? So I was just, sitting there with so much in my mind, and I'm just like, I don't think the person goes straight to heaven. I know the spirit returns back to its maker, and that's Jehovah God. That's back to Christ. But then, they have to wait. They're gonna have to wait. When Nazareth died, and Jesus called out to him, and he came back to life, the Bible never mentioned, he never said, oh, I was in heaven, it was beautiful, or no, we're not going to stay in heaven for the rest of our life when we go to heaven, because it does say, the Garden of Eden is gonna come back for us to live the life that we're supposed to live, a very peaceful life in a beautiful garden that God promised us. That's the second earth. That's the life, So I don't know. Lately, I've been questioning a lot about not questioning about my faith where it's bad, but I've always had questions about the dead. Like, why would us as Christians tell people lies that, like, oh, your family's in heaven, they're watching over you, they're an angel, they're watching over you? Why would you say that? Why not just said, we come from dust, and from dust we will return, and our spirit will go back to heaven, will go back to God, to its maker. Even in the Bible it says, even the dead would have to wake up eventually, so they could face judgment day. And I felt like the first death is your first judgment. That's how I felt. I don't know about anybody. Maybe because of the way I'm having so much question about Christianity right now. So I was just like, you know what? A lot of us think about, oh, when we died, we're going to heaven. But where in the Bible says when you die, you go straight to heaven, or when you die, you're going to burn in hell? Hell, I don't even think there's a hell. I know your hell is the fact that when Jesus does come, and after the judgment day and everything is settled, if you didn't make it in the Garden of Eden, you're going to perish for life. You're going to go back to dust for life. That's it. There's no second chances after that. That's hell enough to know that when judgment day come, you're going to perish, you're gonna be gone. That's hell for me. That's like, oh my gosh, I won't be in the second coming, I won't be in the Garden of Eden. I just want, just like I felt like Adam and Eve, they were perfect humans, so when they die, do they really went to heaven? Because they were already in heaven, they were already in paradise, they were perfect before they fall. So to me, when my father passed away, I hated when people will be like, you know, he's in heaven right now, he's watching over you. How is he in heaven? It clearly said your spirit go back to its maker, goes back to God. But nowhere does it said you're gonna be sitting in heaven, popping champagne, and looking at your ancestors and be like, oh, she's about to do this. Let me go down to earth and just make her feel my spirit. I honestly don't believe that. I don't think when you die you go straight to heaven sitting along with God. I feel like your spirit went back to God, and I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Where do you think someone's spirit goes? Do you think when someone died they go straight to hell, or they go straight to heaven, or they are lost between the realms in spirituality? Do you think like your family or your loved ones is around and just watching over you? If they're just around watching over you, that's mean they are never resting. Why wouldn't you want them to rest? So much questions, such little times. But we're special to God. We're like special, you know. That's why it says we return back to the dust, because we were created in the dust. So yeah, I've had so much questions, and I started to have those questions since when my father passed away, because I'm just like, so many people are saying he's in heaven, he's watching over you. And you know, sometimes in the Haitian community, people who does voodoo felt like they could call that spirit, so that the spirit could speak to you and stuff. It's not even in Haiti. Everywhere around the world there are people who try to call on the spirit. I'm just like, why would you be so selfish and not let that person rest? Like, the dead cannot speak. They're gone. Their body is resting until judgment day. Leave them alone. Stop depending on them to watch over you. Like, their spirit is with God until that time comes where he's going to be standing out there with angels and their big sword and their beautiful wings, ready to show us all the wrongs that we've done and how many chances he gave us. So I'm just like, to me, I embrace death. When you die in sickness, you die, you know, the natural way. But I don't embrace death when someone is murdered. I've always felt really sad when someone died, because I felt like they're going to rest when the spirit returns to God. But I feel like that person was never given a chance to make any changes, to make any, you know, to fix any relationships when people take them away. So that's always hurtful. But I feel like if I get sick now and I'm going to die, I'm going to embrace it, because it's part of life. But I don't think I'll embrace the fact that somebody shot me or stabbed me and I'm going to die. The thought of that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I never had a chance to do this, to do that, to do that. But I've always felt like, do we really go straight to heaven? Are we really going to sit in the right hand of Jesus, just watching over a family member? Like, are we really? So, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think when your family member died? Do you think they go straight to heaven, no matter what? You know, even when they sin, do you think they go straight to heaven, or do you think they're lost somewhere, or do you think they're watching over us? You know, I think that's something Christians created to make people feel good, you know. I'm a firm believer, because the Bible said it. We were created from dust, and to dust we will return. And because God breathed life into us, our spirit will go back to him because he put that in us so we could become a full function human beings. So what do you guys think? Maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, correct me. Just tell me what you guys think. All right, again, my name is Felinda, my beautiful butterflies. Thank you so much, and you guys have a wonderful, beautiful Saturday. I'm home because my car was started.
Don't forget to
Bye.
subscribe
Mwah.
and like and follow.